Megan Murphy is the editor of Bloomberg Business Week. The new issue of the magazine is on newsstands right now. Check this out. Jason Johnson is here. He's politics editor at TheRoot.com and a professor at Morgan State University. And Clint Watts is a former FBI special agent. Clint, I want to go to you first. Your reaction to President Trump's tweet, James Comey better hope there are no tapes of our conversations before he starts leaking to the press. Well, if there were going to be tapes, maybe it should have been before, or I guess you'd say they should have had dinner after the Russians were in the Oval Office, because maybe things are taped now. What's your take on this?
He's threatening someone he already fired. He would make passive threats to the FBI director via Twitter before he fired him. This is just galvanizing the entire U.S. government to buckle down and say, I can't even trust my commander-in-chief to use good judgment. I mean, what is the president doing at 8:30 in the morning? He's not governing. He's sitting watching the reaction of his TV show, you know, that he puts on every day. Who is in charge of this country right now? How can you, as a leader of any of these agencies, have any confidence in the commander-in-chief? Because he's saying he might be taping recordings of you to use against you later. This is so damaging to the U.S. government. I can't imagine anyone would want to step in and be the new FBI director when it's obvious that he's putting undue influence. It's not the rule of law. It's the rule of Trump. Who could survive an administration that way? How would you make it 10 years in that job? It's impossible. You've got pressure on the DOJ. You've got pressure on the FBI. You've got pressure on the intel community. Even as of last night, he was saying, if it is the Russians, if we don't know it's the Russians, 17 intelligence agencies said it was the Russians. The Russians have even taken credit for certain parts of this. It is overt. This isn't covert. So what should we think of our president? He's obviously not working right now or in charge. He's sitting watching TV and tweeting. Who is in charge of this country? And the message between the vice president and Trump's inner staff and the rest of the government are all inconsistent. What do you believe at this point? Because I sure don't know what to believe.
All right, Megan Murphy, but this is the threat du jour. It's James Comey today. It could be Paul Ryan tomorrow, the press, Democrats. What do we make of this? I said it earlier. People have been saying, listen, they may be his family members, but we should be so lucky that Jared and Ivanka are there, the voice of reason. Where's the reason now?
Look, I mean, I think to echo what Clint is saying there, this is a different level of seriousness in terms of this tweet this morning. Had this not happened, we'd spend this morning breaking down, once again, the inconsistencies and the shifting story of the White House and why the director was let go. Instead, now we're going to spend an entire day talking about a president who has explicitly threatened the former now director of the FBI, suggesting that he actually taped a dinner with him. Again, over not even shades of Watergate, almost, a parallel with Watergate in terms of a tape. Is there really a taping system in the White House that private dinners are being recorded? Is that what we're meant to believe? And what kind of sitting president does put out a threat of this gravity and this seriousness to a man with legitimate detractors on both sides of the aisles, but a respected man, a man who is known for his bipartisanship, known for being a straight shooter, known for pursuing independent investigations? This is going to cause tremendous uproar within the enforcement community. Just that this is the level of dialogue that we're out, where this is being carried out on Twitter.
All right. Well, then let's say a cynic would say, you are part of the media. You take everything seriously. You throw your hair is on fire. And Trump enthusiasts around the country would say, this guy is serious business, getting serious business done. When does that shift? Because many people could also say, this guy has never been in government. Right. He's never run a public company. He's never had a board to answer to or shareholders. This is an autocrat trying to do autocratic things.
Yeah, this is how authoritarianism starts. I mean, look, this is how democracy dies. Wants to start. I've said all along, sometimes the courts will fight back. Sometimes the Democrats will fight back. But when you have a president who basically is actively trying to destroy any sort of independent judicial agency that is supposed to keep him in check, that is a president who is no longer interested in running a democracy. He is interested in asking for fealty, loyalty, and basically pushing the country in whatever direction he wants, regardless of law. Now, his supporters are going to say, we don't care about any of this. But you know what? That doesn't really matter right now, because in 8 to 10 months, when they start losing their health care, they'll put pressure on Congress, and Congress may eventually do something to this presidency. That's the only way we'll see some sort of solution, because I don't think we're going to get an independent counsel or anything from the members of Congress right now.
Clint, in terms of importance, Are we splitting hairs? You know, President Trump's account of, did James Comey ask to come to dinner? Did I invite him to dinner? Did he say I wasn't under investigation 3 times or 2 times? Is this that important? Are we splitting hairs? Where's the big punchline that we should be the most concerned about?
I think it's about integrity. I think, you know, Director Comey...
Hold on. Integrity is something that kind of went out the window a while ago. Right. I mean, let's be honest. When we elected a president who had a tape, I'm not even going to use the word at this point. We're going to call it the Access Hollywood tape. We can't possibly say integrity. Losing integrity is the issue here. Integrity wasn't what elected President Trump. People held their nose, looked the other way, and said, I'm going to vote for him because he's going to get stuff done. I think it's more about the integrity of government. How can you keep the faith of the American public whenever your boss is always undermining you, always discounting what you say, calling you a liar publicly? If I'm a government official right now, what I just learned today is I'm never going to have a private conversation with the president. I will have group conference calls with multiple witnesses. If I get called to the White House, I'm going to take my attorney that works at my agency and another witness with me, because I can't trust what I tell the president isn't going to be misconstrued and used against me as soon as I don't do what he wants. If I don't follow the rule of Trump and I follow the rule of law, I'm going to get thrown under the bus. Right now, the signal to everybody in the U.S. government is you better watch your back and you better cover yourself. Before we go, if you're Mike Pence, what does it mean?
Yeah. Look, he's been out there saying exactly the story that his own president has just discounted. It is about integrity, but it's also about, imagine if we were in a real crisis. I mean, this is a crisis, James Comey getting fired. Imagine if we're talking about a nuclear test in North Korea. Imagine if we're talking about a new conflagration in the Middle East, something that we need to believe what is coming out of the White House spokespeople about what they are saying about a legitimate, direct threat to the American people. That is what I think people should be worried about in terms of, can we actually believe what is coming out of their mouth? And is it going to get 2 days and an interview with Lester Holt before we get the real story? That is a truly terrifying situation. I
don't know, worrisome, like Commerce Secretary saying that bombing Syria was after-dinner entertainment. And guess what? Didn't even cost anything. Well, it did. Lives and $180 million. All right, we're taking a break. Next, the president did